think we're going to have one or two more questions, and then we'll wrap this up. Please say who you are and yeah, what your major is or your department or whatever.
No, actually, my name is Joe. I'm from off campus.
Okay.
But I heard about the debate today, so I was interested in coming. And I have a question for Dr. Badawi. Okay. You keep referring to the Quran as a source of historical information for the life of Jesus. I have a question for you. Research has shown that the Quran is full of issues and stories that are from Jewish mythology, Jewish folklore that existed in the time of Muhammad. For example, Jesus making birds of clay and breathing life into them, Jesus sitting up in the cradle and speaking. These are stories that would have been known to Muhammad in the 7th century. We do not find these stories in the Bible. So why would I be interested in accepting the Quran as a story, as a narrative of historical significance, when it was written 600 years later, after the fact, when I have the Bible that was written within 100 years? Why should I believe the Quran as a source of historical information about the life of Jesus?
First of all, an ancient book does not necessarily mean it is most accurate, and I think you are more aware than I do about the history of writing of the Bible. I can only refer you to a book by Friedman who wrote the Bible, and the various parallel and various manuscripts, even in the book of Genesis itself. So your broad statement about the accuracy of the Bible historically, it is something that Christian has been questioned. And at this juncture, I'd like just to comment that I'm not saying here that I'm as expert in Greek language, but I did give you page, number, and references to the Greek translation word by word done by Christians. And the Greek language is there and the word equivalent. So this is not my word. The things that I'm not expert of, I refer to experts within Christianity, not to their critics. These are Christians who wrote that. The other thing that you mentioned also about the Quran being a historical reference. It is more than historical reference for me. For me as a Muslim, I said it outright, honestly, and repeated that. To me, the Quran is the word of God dictated to the Prophet, which is not dependent on accuracy or inaccuracy of previous stories or later stories for that matter. I made my position very clear. But there are also areas of discipline that you can study whether the Quran indeed is coming from God or not, whether it was accurate or not. Again, I teach a whole course on that subject. There's ample evidence to support that, even in the historical and scientific even perspective. But then you refer to some other things like the Quran mentioned, which is, you said, in Jewish writing. My humble understanding that what you're referring to about making birds out of clay, actually it is in a Christian gospel known as the gospel of infancy. But my point here is this. Who decided as to which books will be included in the Bible and others that has been excluded? We know historically, you check any encyclopedia, there were hundreds of gospels. The ones that were selected by human beings, which meant these were perhaps more common in use in some churches, so they were taken maybe because they agreed with the concept of Trinity in its formative stage in the Council of Nicaea in 325. That means if decisions, and we admit decisions are fallible, made those decisions to decide which to include and which to exclude, that leaves a possibility that some of the things that they excluded from inclusion in the codex itself, the canonized Bible, might have been actually originally true, originally revelation from God, but they were less known, or simply those who sat down decided against it. It's quite possible, and nobody can tell me that's impossible. It is quite possible that they were true revelation, but lost throughout history and were not included in the canon.